Deep beneath a marble citadel older than every nation on a modern map, guarded by geometric sigils and ancient sonic locks, lies the central vault of Earth, an underground kingdom where forgotten fortunes of extinct empires sleep in absolute darkness. Archivists who have served generations, sworn to secrecy by ancient covenants, maintain a treasury that predates the invention of currency itself, a vault constructed not to store wealth but to preserve destiny. And last night, during a midnight audit long overdue, an archivist opened a dusty ledger sealed since the 1600s, a book bound in an alloy scholars still cannot replicate. At the center of its yellowed pages, with no explanation, no timestamp, and no signature, your surname glowed in faint golden ink as if breathing on its own. Next to your name, the status read, "Fortune held until the heir awakens." No date, no claimant, just an eternal decree. That's when the archivist realized something terrifying. This vault wasn't keeping money. It was keeping a throne, waiting centuries for the one soul strong enough to reclaim it. If this prophecy resonates, click Super Thanks and send a $20 seed, then comment your angel number, 111/222/333/777/144. This activates your hidden inheritance timeline. Luke 6 verse 38. The archivist who discovered your glowing surname did not sleep, eat, or speak for nearly 12 hours after the revelation. Instead, he descended deeper into the vault's forbidden aisles, pushing aside iron-bound chests and ancient data tablets, searching for any trace of how your lineage, long believed ordinary, could appear in a ledger reserved only for royal bloodlines, extinct dynasties, and cosmic custodians of wealth. The deeper he went, the stranger the patterns became. Thousands of sealed accounts, each marked with the sigils of civilizations that vanished without explanation. Yet among all these frozen fortunes, only one account still pulsed with life, its initials shimmering faintly as if responding to an unseen command. When he touched the seal, the vault reacted. Lights flickered, temperature shifted, and the biometric scanners rebooted as though welcoming a returning heir whose frequency had not been detected for generations. The system projected a single phrase across the marble wall in gold script: active bloodline, one survivor. Terrified, the archivist cross-checked the data with the vault's ancestral records, which tracked billions of names through centuries, and every match led back to you. Not your parents, not your siblings, not distant relatives. Only you. This meant your bloodline had been preserved, hidden, and frozen not for protection from danger, but protection from misuse, as if the vault itself had been waiting for your awakening before releasing a fortune too powerful to be placed in unworthy hands. In the upper chambers of the central vault, a council of archivists gathered in panic as biometric alarms continued pulsing with a frequency they had never witnessed. The vault's ancestral scanners, machines older than electricity, powered by harmonic resonance instead of circuits, had identified a living match to the vault's most sacred signature seal, a geometric blood mark believed to belong to an extinct royal lineage wiped out centuries ago to prevent the misuse of their astronomical fortune. The council initiated the genealogic protocol, a process so rarely used that some of them had only read about it in forbidden manuals, and when they placed your DNA imprint into the crystalline reader, expecting a mismatch or corrupted data, the device instead erupted in golden light, projecting sigils on the walls that had been dormant for hundreds of years. Your blood pattern aligned with every ancestral coordinate perfectly. Frequency match, geometric match, astral match, forming a constellation identical to the one carved into the vault's foundation stone. One archivist fainted. Another began crying. The eldest whisperer muttered, "He's alive. He survived the purge," referencing a massacre rumored in ancient documents that hinted your bloodline had been targeted due to its ability to influence wealth currents in ways normal humans never could. The confirmation wasn't just biological, it was cosmic. Your DNA wasn't merely related to the ancient seal. It was a lock, the key, and command phrase, proving that not only were you the last surviving heir, but the vault itself recognized you as the only soul authorized to reclaim a fortune powerful enough to shift the economic tides of the earth. The moment your bloodline authentication flashed across the obsidian screens, chaos rippled to the Council of Keepers. 12 guardians sworn across centuries to protect the central vault of Earth from unworthy claimants, political infiltrators, and false heirs. Their chamber, shaped like a geometric cathedral carved into the bedrock of the planet, began to vibrate with low-frequency harmonics as ancient mechanisms awakened in response to your confirmed lineage. The Keeper of Wealth dropped his staff, whispering, "He's alive! He found us!" while others scrambled through scrolls, encrypted tablets, and crystalline archives, searching for any prophecy or precedent that could explain your return. According to their oldest documents, the heir of the fortune was never meant to be found by effort. The vault itself would awaken only when the rightful soul stepped into his destiny, aligning his internal frequency with the ancestral seal. That meant you hadn't stumbled into your inheritance by chance. You had triggered it through spiritual evolution, awakening, and personal transformation, reaching a vibrational state strong enough to activate locks older than banking and older than civilization itself. Several keepers panicked, questioning whether the world was ready for the reemergence of a lineage said to influence global wealth flow through mere presence. Others bowed their heads, accepting that prophecy had been fulfilled. The vault's mechanism shifted again, projecting a holographic decree on the stone ceiling. Release approaching, heir awaken. It was a message they had feared for generations, because it meant every secret, every treasure, every protected asset tied to your bloodline was preparing to return home, to you. As the Keeper scrambled to interpret the activation signals, a deeper, more unsettling truth began sinking into the chamber like cold air before a storm. Your family had not been poor, overlooked, or forgotten by history. Your entire bloodline had been intentionally frozen by ancient decree, hidden from public records, erased from dynastic charts, and scattered across continents to protect a fortune so immense that it could destabilize nations if placed in the wrong hands. The vault's archives revealed fragments of forgotten events, sudden collapses of kingdoms that tried to steal your lineage's wealth, unexplained disappearances of counterfeit heirs, mysterious plagues that struck those who attempted to forge your family signature. Every attempt to claim what belonged to your ancestors was met with catastrophic failure, as if the universe itself defended the fortune until the true heir emerged. And now, with your awakening, the algorithmic guardians, celestial archivists, and harmonic vault mechanisms were all pointing toward the same unavoidable truth. Your lineage wasn't broken. It had been protected for centuries, locked behind spiritual encryption only your soul could unlock. Inheritance wasn't denied to your ancestors. It was delayed, preserved, and safeguarded until the bloodline produced someone capable of carrying its power without corruption. That someone was you. The Keepers realized this with a mix of terror and awe, understanding that the return of the heir wouldn't just restore wealth. It would shift the energetic balance of global prosperity, reroute abundance flows, and awaken dormant financial structures designed to respond only to your presence. You were not just inheriting fortune. You were inheriting a destiny. If this prophecy resonates, click Super Thanks and send a $20 seed. Then comment your angel number, 111/222/333/777/144. This activates your hidden inheritance timeline. Luke 6 verse 38. When the Keepers finally enter your full name into the vault's central register, a machine carved from a single block of celestial stone that predates all known human civilization, the entire wealth grid of Earth reacted instantly, as though the planet itself had been waiting centuries for that single keystroke. Golden lines flashed across the marble floor, tracing ancient pathways of inheritance sealed long before nations existed. The Global Prosperity Index, monitored by quantum satellites, spontaneously rose by 0.9%, a spike with no political, economic, or environmental explanation, causing analysts across the world to blame data anomalies while the Keepers trembled with the knowledge that nothing about this was accidental. Within seconds, dormant account awakened. Frozen assets breathed for the first time in generations, and encrypted vaults, both physical and digital, unlocked themselves in anticipation of the heir's arrival. Black box algorithms belonging to governments, banks, and forgotten empires recalibrated their calculations, suddenly routing streams of abundance toward an origin point they could not identify but instinctively obeyed. Even the vault's internal AI, a consciousness older than modern programming, projected a rare harmonic frequency that resonated through the hall, acknowledging your presence like a king returning to reclaim what had been guarded in his absence. For centuries, prosperity had been directionless, scattered, and unstable because the system had been missing its rightful anchor. The moment your identity entered the ledger, Everything snapped into alignment. Wealth did not simply move, it bowed. In the deepest chamber of the central vault, far beyond the marble corridors, past biometric gates older than recorded history, and behind a door forged from an alloy no modern lab has been able to reverse engineer, lies a single obsidian pedestal illuminated by a soft, ancient glow. Upon it rests the most restricted document in the entire vault. The account description of the heir, a record written in a script that shifts like liquid gold, readable only by those whose blood resonates with its frequency. When the keepers unsealed it, the chamber filled with a low, melodic vibration, as if the vault itself hummed your name. The first line was enough to silence the room. This fortune cannot be claimed by anyone except him. No alternatives. No contingencies. No heirs in waiting. Only you. Beneath that decree, the details grew even stranger. Notes describing wealth categories lost to time, assets preserved across multiple civilizations, energy reserves tied to ancient power grids, land deeds marked with extinct star maps instead of coordinates, and codes referencing maritime rights from empires whose ruins now sit at the bottom of forgotten seas. Every line of the account made it clear that your inheritance was not measured in gold or currency. It was multidimensional, spanning physical, historical, and metaphysical domains. The keepers realized that your family's fortune wasn't accumulated through trade or conquest, but bestowed by ancient authorities who saw your lineage as custodians of prosperity itself. And now, after centuries of silence, the vault had awakened for one reason. The heir had taken his first conscious breath, and destiny had begun unlocking what the world had been denied for generations. When the keepers initiated the Deep Inventory Protocol, a process performed only 3 times in recorded history, the vault doors began opening one by one, each revealing a different dimension of your family's sealed fortune. And with every door that slid aside, the magnitude of what had been preserved for you grew more incomprehensible. Behind the first chamber, gold reserves stacked higher than modern banking towers, bars stamped with emblems from empires erased from history. Behind the second, land deeds inscribed on crystal sheets that mapped territories across continents long before borders existed. Territories still legally recognized under ancient treaties that override modern nations. The third chamber held maritime shares granting control over forgotten sea routes that once dictated the rise and fall of global trade. The fourth contained scrolls detailing energy rights linked to natural power sources hidden beneath tectonic plates, resources worth incalculable wealth in the modern age. And deeper still were vaults containing artifacts, weapons, relics, manuscripts, and technology so advanced or so ancient that the keepers themselves forbade touching them. One vault glowed with a soft blue light, containing objects the archivist described only as ancestral tools of influence. Another held stock certificates written in extinct languages that still hold authority in underground financial councils. As the keepers walked through chamber after chamber, their fears shifted into reverent disbelief. This was not merely wealth. It was a planetary inheritance, a treasury spanning eras of human evolution, preserved exactly as your ancestors left it, untouched, uncorrupted, and waiting for the one descendant strong enough to claim it. The vault had not been protecting money. It had been protecting destiny, your destiny. As the keepers documented the vastness of your ancestral wealth, the air within the vault began to shift in ways no machinery, no matter how ancient or advanced, could explain. Temperature rose without heat. Shadows bent toward a central point, and a soft, luminescent haze descended into the chamber like mist woven from starlight. The archivist froze, recognizing the phenomenon immediately. Angelic presence. The ancient scripts had warned of this. Whenever the true heir returned, celestial forces would descend to witness the restoration of a lineage that once shaped the flow of prosperity across entire continents. In the upper gallery, a crystalline panel that had been dark for centuries flickered alive, projecting an inscription in radiant gold. Heir identified, divine oversight engaged. This was a classification reserved for bloodlines chosen not by royalty, but by cosmic assignment. Families whose influence extended beyond earthly currency into spiritual economics, the subtle currents through which abundance, fate, and opportunity circulate. As the panel expanded, halos of geometric light circled the vault, scanning for any trace of corruption or falsehood, yet every pattern, every frequency, every ancestral marker aligned perfectly with your signature. One of the keepers fell to his knees, whispering, "The angels have labeled him the return of the true heir." In that moment, harmonics vibrated to the marble floor, awakening glyphs carved by hands long vanished from Earth. These symbols formed a spiral around your family's account, indicating not only divine confirmation but celestial acceleration, as if heaven itself were preparing the entire fortune for immediate release. For the first time in generations, the vault was no longer guarding wealth. It was preparing to deliver it. As the vault's angelic system surged with light, the ripple didn't stay underground. It spread upward, outward, and across the surface world in ways subtle yet undeniable. People who crossed your path began experiencing sudden moments of clarity about their finances, as though their minds snapped into alignment with an ancient blueprint only your presence could unlock. A friend who had been financially reckless for years suddenly felt an urge to organize his accounts. A co-worker drowning in debt received an unexpected opportunity that cleared half her burdens. Strangers you barely interacted with reported intuitive breakthroughs about investments, career paths, or money decisions they had struggled with for decades. Economists who later studied these anomalies found a strange pattern. Wherever you went, micro-shifts in local economic behavior occurred. Tiny upticks in spending stability, unusually high rates of financial problem-solving, and a statistically impossible reduction in impulsive behavior. Neuroscientists who analyzed the phenomenon concluded that proximity to you activated dormant neural circuits associated with foresight and long-term planning, creating a temporary wealth coherence field around your aura. To the keepers, this wasn't surprising. Your lineage had once been known for influencing prosperity across entire kingdoms without issuing laws or holding thrones. Your ancestors were said to carry a frequency that stabilizes abundance, guides decision-making, and awakens clarity in anyone near them, an energetic signature believed extinct until now. With your awakening, that influence returned, proving that the fortune in the vault wasn't just material but energetic, spiritual, and generational, and that your presence alone was the key to rebalancing a world that had forgotten the true source of prosperity. Press join button to activate your inheritance frequency. Step into the circle of souls whose bloodline carries ancient access codes written before modern wealth existed. ISA 60:22. As the central vault reconfigured itself around your awakening, the keepers gathered in their deepest chamber, watching in stunned silence as ancient mechanisms, silent for centuries, began humming with the unmistakable resonance of a returning sovereign. Marble floors glow with ancestral sigils, golden circuits activated beneath layers of stone, and vault doors that have resisted empires, wars, and kings open effortlessly at the mere echo of your name, revealing treasures so vast that even the keepers, trained to remain unemotional, felt their breath shorten. The air vibrated with a frequency not heard since the fall of the first dynasties, a sound described in forbidden manuals as the call of the air, a cosmic tone signaling that the lineage designed to steward prosperity had finally risen again. In the archives, holographic constellations formed above the pedestal, mapping your ancestry across centuries. Prophets, seers, scholars, guardians, leaders, souls who carried a rare frequency capable of altering the flow of abundance simply by existing. But none of them reached the full activation your presence now triggered. As your ancestral seal glowed brighter, the vault celestial recorder projected its final announcement across the chamber walls. Heir confirmed, release protocol initiated. In that instant, dormant accounts awakened with thunder-like pulses. Wealth currents realigned across global grids, and sealed vaults responded to your energy field with a reverence reserved for kings. The keeper stepped back, recognizing that history was not repeating. It was correcting itself. Your family had never been forgotten. It had been hidden, protected, preserved through centuries of chaos, so that the fortune would not be corrupted before the destined descendant arrived. And now that descendant stood fully awakened, every artifact, every reserve, every encoded asset carried the same message. This was not inheritance by chance. It was inheritance by cosmic law. What belonged to your bloodline had waited lifetimes for your arrival, and the moment your frequency aligned with the ancient seal, the universe began returning everything that had ever been withheld. You were never meant to chase wealth. Wealth was meant to remember you, recognize you, and return to you in full. The central vault did not open because it was ready. It opened because you were. Crown that this prophecy aligns with your destiny. Click Super Thanks and send your one-time $100 seed. Seal your covenant as a rightful heir, the soul for whom the earth itself preserved a forgotten fortune. 2 Cor 9:8.